I've been quite mindful of that recently, that I need to do other things basically in order to keep myself consistent and keep myself current and available to different people for different things. The last thing you want as an actor, I believe, is to be like pigeonholed into one thing, especially as I said before, I want to do as much as humanly possible and be on board with so many different projects. They have to see that I'm willing and also capable of doing those projects. So it's something that I will continue doing, that comedy and such, but I also need to do sort of more serious pieces as well, which is something that I'm driving towards, just to keep those muscles fresh, basically, and well maintained.
Well, it's so great to talk to you.
No, thank you. It's good to be here. I've had a busy couple of weeks, actually, which is quite nice. A lot's happened on the personal level, on the professional level. So it's just been a bit of a wild ride, just trying to decompress and take a few days off and then reset so I can just go again, basically.
Well, yeah. You're based in London.
I am North London.
And were you born in England?
Indeed, I was born in London.
Really? Okay. Edmonton. Yeah, because the accent is very Londoner accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm born and raised Edmonton and Tottenham.
Oh, okay. And acting, was that something as a child that interested you?
Ever since I was quite young, actually. I'd always sort of pretending, and I watched a lot of 80s movies with particularly Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah. I love his movies.
Yeah, I shouldn't be watching some of those movies, to be fair, with the amount of times he swears to that. But I watched them anyway, and I guess as a kid, I sort of saw myself in him. He was a funny character a lot of the time. And, always smiling, always laughing, similar to myself, And I just thought, I'd like to be him. I'd like to do things like that. And at a very young age, I just turned to my mum and just said, I'd like to be an actor.
Really?
And
so were you sort of the comedian of the family then?
Yeah, sort of. Okay. I was always making people laugh. I was always ended up in these crazy situations. So it kind of just felt natural to then sort of progress in that vein, Yeah. And luckily for me, my family were really supportive. My mum was exceptionally supportive. She was, she turned around and said, you can do anything you want, which is always nice to hear from a parent, particularly if you're going down the arts route, and my aunts and uncles, they were also trying to put me in the right direction. My primary school teacher, he was given a list of drama schools and after school clubs to my mum. Yeah.
So they already saw the potential, a teacher, or your primary school teacher, they could see the potential in you.
Yeah, I guess they did. And I think for them, it was a case of, it wasn't so much, he's going to be really good at this, he's going to be a superstar sort of thing. It was just more of a case of, he's genuinely interested, and if we put him on this path, we don't know where it will take him, but it'll give him some form of direction. A lot of people, even in their 30s and 40s and stuff like that, are always changing what they want to do in life simply because they don't know. They just kind of grow up and pick a job and then sit in that job and be absolutely miserable because they haven't got a real idea of what they would like to do. So
and exactly that I love that, they didn't say to you, oh, it's not going to be possible, or it's going to be difficult to go in a career like that. They actually motivated you to do that. And it's amazing that teachers, that there was a teacher who did that for you, because it's true what you're saying. It's a lot of people had the dream, but there was nobody to sort of guide them.
Yeah, I still remember. I'll give him a shout out, Mr. Skillett. Thank you.
Wonderful. Oh, I love it. I love when people give a shout out to their teachers, because I think it's so important, to think that you are there not only because of them, but that you got that little guidance to go.
Yeah.
So was there a sort of a drama classes or something that you did in the primary school, so that where they saw your potential?
To be honest, it was just more school plays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what would happen is a school play would come up, or we'd have an assembly, and it was our classes' turn to do something, as it were. So maybe a small play or an event. And I was always the go-to guy who didn't mind just being out there and doing his thing, if you will. And it just stemmed from there. And then after that, I was sent to a Saturday class called TAS. I think I was about 10 going on 11. And I was there for a while, and unfortunately that closed down. And then my mum's close friend, a family friend, basically sponsored me to go to Mount View Theatre School as a teenager. So Mount View have Saturday classes for, children aged, I think it was 12 through to 16. And it's Mount View, so it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But luckily, mum's friend Marilyn, get another shout out, sponsored me to go and do those classes each term, and basically paid the money to do that. So whilst I was doing my GCSEs in drama and all my other subjects on Saturdays between 1:30 to 3:30, I was in drama school, basically. I was in a drama class. So whilst all my friends was running around the shopping mall and doing God knows what, I was behind the shopping mall, 10 minutes away in a building, looking
but how amazing that you got that opportunity, because also, this is the reality of it, is that art classes and ballet classes and dance and acting and all that, it's quite expensive, and not everybody can afford it. So it's wonderful. I mean, my children were in the ballet school, and they also had sponsors. So I understand, that it's we're always grateful for people who can see the value in art, that they are willing to sponsor children or support children to do that. Yeah. So after you've done your GCSEs, did you go for your A levels? Did you go to a drama college or a drama school?
No, actually. My GCSEs were pretty bad, to be honest. So I ended up retaking. My only A was drama. Yeah, but
that's good. That's all you needed.
Yeah, that's what I needed. Okay, I'm genuinely good at this. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I took my sole A. I think I got another good grade. Oh, that was in media studies. And again, so there was a synergy between things that I passed, things that I failed, basically.
Those were your things that you wanted to do. Yeah.
So, and I think it just boils down to how cruel exams can be as well.
Mm.
They often say, okay, you're not good, sort of thing, but really it's just you're not good at those subjects. But what you are good at, you could actually, put forward and push into a career. And luckily I wasn't deterred. So I took my 2 GCSEs at the time. I went to retake my GCSEs, got another 2 that enabled me to do my A-levels, in which I chose theatre studies and English literature. And I did that at City Islington College, which is also in North London, about 45 minutes from where I was living at the time in Edmonton. So just took it from there, really.
Wow. And then it's like, when it's always this thing, you study and you do the best you can, but then you have to go out in the real world and go and find then acting jobs. Was that difficult for you?
Actually, I was pretty much performing to live audiences since I was about 11 or 12. I was with a lot of amateur dramatics groups and stuff, doing pantomimes and other things as well. So, no, I was quite lucky. I was always used to being on stage. And again, like I said before, I was doing shows with the school. So, and I was quite fortunate to be sort of pushed in that direction. And of course, my drama school, Malpew, there were always like end of term shows that we were building towards. So, and I was still learning at that time. So once I finished my A-levels, I then went to the University of Wolverhampton to do my BA in drama.
Okay.
And yeah, that's when I decided to go. I was going to go to another drama school after that, but my brother said to me, "Look, you've been training since you were 10. Like, just do it. Like, what you're going to do is spend your rest of life in school." I mean, the problem is obviously you're not going to a prestigious drama school. I mean, University of Wolverhampton wasn't known for drama. And it kind of makes your life easier if you go to a well-respected, well-known drama school, because they were like, oh, this person's from RADA, or this person went to so-and-so.
But don't you think in a way it's, I know what you're saying. It's like that in the dance world. It's like that with musicians as well. But yet, I wonder if it's fair, to say that it's, because you almost think that, yes, you had the education and you didn't have maybe the school's name behind you, but you yourself, you've done the work and you've gained the experience and, every play or every time you were on stage, there must have been something that you've learned, and it's learning by doing.
Yeah, and I think that's what my brother saw. So I did, and honestly, back then, I mean, drama schools now under what we call the UCAS setup, so like our university admission scheme.
Okay.
So a lot of drama schools now, you can go through the normal university route, and if you genuinely want to do arts, there's a lot more room for you to do that, and you can take out a student loan, and it's part of the university setup, so it's more recognised.
Okay.
It's not as separate. Whereas obviously in my time, it was very much you're going to university or you're going to drama school. And if you're going to drama school, you have to pay because it's the arts and you pay for the arts. I mean, nothing much has changed, but I think that's the one thing that did, which I'm quite happy about. I wish it happened sooner.
Yeah.
I'm glad it happened.
But do you find in the industry when you go out for an audition, is there a prejudice? I mean, or is it just really what you have to give? That's what they sort of take in account.
Nowadays, that prejudice has died down a fair bit. I mean, it hasn't changed. You'll still see a lot of the main casting directors, a lot of the main producers go into Talia Conti and places simply because, they know what they're getting, which is fair, Whereas, you go to these other places because it's not that particular institution's main focus, that it's kind of a gamble and a lot of people don't really want to waste their time. So I understand it's not fair, as we've highlighted, but I do understand. And luckily for me, it was just more drive, I want to do it. That got me my first agent. So I was about 3 months out of university, if that. And I was doing loads of free work for a local production group, Lighthouse Productions in the Midlands. And they were doing loads of corporates and adverts and stuff like that. And I met their talent on the day. A lady came up to me and she goes, I'm with this agency and they're based in Birmingham and they could really use another actor on their books. You should audition for them. She gave me their contact information and I auditioned and they took me on board. So 3 months out of university, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had my first agent.
Yeah, and is that so? That's sort of a I don't know what the word is, but it's sort of security that you have when you have an agent, that there's somebody sort of bringing you work that, or making you aware of work that you otherwise wouldn't have known of.
Yeah.
So is that for an actor? Is that important?
Yes. For me personally, I mean. You don't need an agent, but it just solves so many ills when it comes to looking for work, when it comes to organizing what you're going to get paid, when it comes to just emails and paperwork and stuff like that. You send what you need to be sent and then everything else your agent kind of handles. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you are on your own, you've got equity, the Actors Union to back you up. If you're worried about paperwork, you can run things by them, provided you're a member. But and even then, you still need equity if you're having a fallout with your agent anyway. So.
Yeah, and it's that business side of things, and a lot of artists say that that they don't like the business side of things. They like to do what they're trained to do or what they want to do, but it's the business side of things is completely something different that you have to know about.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to do our self-assessments for tax. We've got to then look at contracts and see, am I doing this? Am I doing that? Is this okay? Would that be okay? Do I want to commit to this? Do I want to commit to that? And it's just daunting because all we want to do is just learn our scripts, go over our blocking or choreography if there's dances and stuff like that, and then just do it. That's all we want to stress about.
I'm with you on that one.
We want to stress about, that's all we want to do. And then all of this comes and you're like, what is this?
Yeah. But Paul, now you talk about dancing. Are you also a dancer?
I'm an actor that moves.
Okay.
So I have danced in the past. I've worked with groups where, you had to do a little dance routine and I don't shy away. So I can do it. Sometimes sing, though, again, it's not my strongest forte. I mean, so I tend to try and stick to acting because that's my strong point. So I wish I was triple threat, but I'm not, not that strong anyway. You wouldn't see me in some proper MT setup, because I don't consider myself that strong. But if it's a straightforward play, yeah, I'm all over it. That's where I'm most comfortable.
Okay. But so in London, I mean, there must be loads of actors and but also a lot of jobs. But are there also possibilities to collaborate with people and sort of create something new, or are you more of going for existing sort of plays or film work?
I am a bit of a gun for hire, to be fair.
Okay.
Like if there's an opportunity that comes along, whether it's from like a well-known establishment or just someone trying to do something and it needs some talent or just people to join in and help, I'm all for it because we all got to start somewhere, and I respect and appreciate that. And I like personally making other people's work sort of come alive. So I'll often jump on board and try and collaborate with people who are doing something, provided that obviously the script's good. You know, I still have to have a decent script and it still has to read right. I mean, you have a lot of people writing and they don't think how it's going to sound, how sometimes repetitive it is. I mean, it's the actor's bane, if you will, when you see a script that's really repetitive, when you see similar sentences one after the other. You know, we don't talk like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why would you kind of put that in the script? Unless it's a character choice, then of course we'll work with that. But yeah, sometimes you just look at a script and you think it's very like, or very like, on every line, it's the same. And learning that is torture, you know?
Okay. Yeah, so you have to look at you and with your experience, can you already see if it's something you would like to take on or that you don't? I mean,
for me, I was just like, I'll read it through and then I'll kind of hear their pitch in terms of what they want from that particular character. And if I'm feeling it, if I'm like, you know what, yeah, this is fun, then I'll do it. So, for example, I've been working with a theatre company called Spontaneous Productions for the last, I'd say, 6 years or so. And it's only a small theatre company based in South London. And the artistic director there, Jonathan Kaufman, came up to me with like all these crazy ideas. And I thought, you know what, it's just crazy. It just might work. And I'll jump on board. So one example of which, he had a story. He does a lot of children's theatre, which I do. And he had a story called The Gingerbread Man that he wanted to reimagine. So he changed the story to where the gingerbread man became an Olympic athlete.
Oh, okay.
So he explained it to me. He goes, like, this is what's going to happen. So instead of him being eaten at the end, he actually joins in the London Olympics and wins the race.
I love this.
And I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it did end up with me being in a neoprene gingerbread suit, but and this was in the peak of summer as well, bear in mind. So it wasn't exactly it was a very hot show for me. But I saw the idea and it worked. It was so successful and everyone loved it. And it was something new on what was a very basic children's story.
Yeah.
So it's amazing what you can do if you just like put your head to it, sort of thing, and how far you can take things.
Yeah. And you, with your sense of humor, you can see things like that. I mean, because you sort of when you said in the beginning that Eddie Murphy, that type of comedy, so you can understand that.
Yeah, 100%. I just, like I said, I read the script and I thought about the concept, and I was like, that is really clever. And that's really fun as well. And, you know, I've got a lot of time for writers because whilst obviously I don't want to script to be repetitive or boring, I do appreciate that it's exceptionally hard to come up with new ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the genius about what Jonathan did was just take an old story and just put a spin on it, and you've got a totally new show. from what was a basic story. It's a really nice thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also it's the writer important that the actors understand what he's trying to do, you know. So it's great. I think it's probably a wonderful chemistry if you find, as a writer, you find an actor like you can totally get it and, you know, run with it.
Yeah. No, honestly, I love things like that. And I also like people that take chances on things. So, and I'm always willing, like I said before, I'm a gun for hire. So I just, if it's a good spirit or it's a good production setup, then I'm like, let's do it. Let's have a go.
Yeah. So is it more comedy that you want to do?
It's funny actually, because recently, I'm getting older. So children's theatre is something that I love doing and I'll continue to do. But I'm at a stage now where if I fill up my credit sheet with loads of children's theatre, you know, if you're a casting director or a producer and you see that, you're like, well, you can't really do anything else.
Okay.
So I've been quite mindful of that recently, that I need to do other things basically in order to keep myself consistent and keep myself current and available to different people for different things. The last thing you want as an actor, I believe, is to be like pigeonholed into one thing, especially as I said before, I want to do as much as humanly possible and be on board with so many different projects. They have to see that I'm willing and also capable of doing those projects. So it's something that I will continue doing, that comedy and such, but I also need to do sort of more serious pieces as well, which is something that I'm driving towards, just to keep those muscles fresh, basically, and well maintained.
And you doing mostly theatre, or do you do film work as well?
I do film work, but I do prefer theatre. And I was explaining this to someone the other day. With theatre, personally, I feel I have more control over what happens. So, you know, if it's live in front of people, every show is going to be different because the audience is different. What people laugh at, what people, you know, are shocked at will vary from show to show. Whereas film, you do a take and you in your heart feel it's like the best take and they don't use it.
Oh, yeah.
And they use something else. And then you'll see yourself do something, like you might see your eyebrow twitch or you might see your mouth drop or something like this could happen. And you're looking at yourself and there's nothing you can do about it. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've done film and I love film. Don't get me wrong. I will happily do like shorts and features quite happily. But there is such a distance between what I do and what happens in post-production that I don't feel part of it anymore. I just feel like I've been sort of ripped away. And then and whatever I see. So, and that's not really up to me, you know, because I would have done take after take, and if they don't use it, like I said before, or if they use a different angle or whatnot, nothing to do with me. And so it's the lack of control I get from film, which is the reason why I prefer theatre.
I've never thought of it like that, but you know, it's the same in photography as well, that I feel sometimes when I'm photographing somebody, I see something that I think is, you know, something that I identify in a person, that I love in a photograph, but then it's not always something that they like to see of themselves. Yeah. And then it's sort of, you lose, then you lose sort of that control over what your work is, you know, because the person has the choice of which photograph is the one that they want. So it's almost the other way around then as well. But so work you were talking about something, you were talking in the beginning about work that you've done now. What was the project that you were busy with now?
Oh, yeah. So I literally just finished a small run of an immersive version of 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with the book at all?
No, no.
So it's a really famous book. It's by George Orwell,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about a sort of dystopian future in which, language has changed, how people are controlled from Big Brother, a dictator, if you will, and a man's journey navigating this world where he wants to, have his own thoughts, where he wants to read old texts, which they're trying to erase from history, and how hard it is because he lives in a world where he's constantly monitored by the state through
Oh, I think
television.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
read it, but I know what you're talking about now.
I
Yeah,
recommend you read it. It's such a good book.
really.
And it's funny, actually. It was one of my favorite books as a kid. I read it in my teens. And it's the 40-year anniversary of the year that the book was set, if you will. So it's 40 years since 1984, basically.
Yeah. Shows you how old I am because I was a teenager then.
It's funny, actually, because the book obviously wasn't written in 1984, and the future for the writer looked a lot different, But the reason why the book is so famous and the reason why the book is so current and people revisit it a lot is, we are being monitored now more than ever before. Information and how it's distributed is being compromised through the nature of technology. And if you think a certain way, how you can be cancelled almost.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's just crazy how everything that George Orwell sort of had said in the book as a story has now somewhat come to light in our present world, you know what I mean? So yeah, I played Winston Smith, who was a main character in the book. And it was interesting for me because, again, I'd done so much children's theatre before that, that this was my first sort of serious piece for a while. So what I was usually doing, I had to almost reel back,
Oh, okay.
And it was challenging for me, but I managed to get through it, and it's nice. And it's a really strong credit for me as well, which I'm really happy about. And it was a really nice experience for those who took part, and I hope, touch wood, for people to watch.
And also amazing that it was one of your favorite books that you got the opportunity to play.
Yeah, like it's great. I mean, and the nice thing as well, I mean, it's a long book. We couldn't play it scene by scene by scene by scene. So with an immersive experience like the one that we did, we had to sort of like take out key moments. But luckily, one of the key moments in the book was when they were discovered. They were caught, as it were, by the state. And then the main character was sent to room 101 for torture. So we managed to take the scene that they were caught and the scene that they were tortured, and we managed to make those scenes happen.
Wow.
Which was fantastic. So I really enjoyed doing that. And again, it was nice to think about what that character went through emotionally and explore that. So loved it. Really loved it.
And it's interesting that you say that, because it's true also that when you're acting, you have to really think about this, about the character, and sort of try to live in this, or live yourself into this role and so on. So coming from, say, children's theatre, where it's more lighter, to this more a piece where you really have to think about it, was that a difficult switch for you to do?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, what happens is with children's theatre, it's almost like you're thinking about how to entertain.
Okay.
And it's also for me, it's a lot bigger. Mm-hmm. And also you take your references from what children are currently watching. So you think about cartoon characters that they see on TV, or sort of stereotypes from cartoons that you watched as a child yourself. And you kind of take all these ideas and you kind of do that. And then all of a sudden, you know exactly what you're going to do. And you just do that. You just sort of like put it in and away you go. You know exactly what you're going to do. And you know it's going to work, because you kind of play to type. So when you play like the hero, they're going to have a certain attitude, they're going to have a certain stance. It just comes naturally. And you can push it as far as you want, because children deal with it, they work in extremes, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas, sadly, the older you get, we don't work in extremes anymore, because life gets complex. So we're forced to think complexities, you know what I mean, in order to convey truth, because we know what the world's like. But when you're a child, everything's imagination, everything's fantasy, everything's,
Yeah.
So, and I think for me, that was the hard switch, is that, I have to find complexities in character and sort of tone it down and reel it back. I can't just pick a person, because as a person, we have so many layers,
Of course, yeah.
All right, I'm this person, but I'm going through this, this. And how do I convey that in every single line? So it's the same with children's theatre, in the sense of I always have to find the jeopardy in each scene, or the fun in each scene. But it's still that character acted within that moment. Whereas when I was playing Winston, I was thinking, I'm traveling in a world that I don't understand, that I don't want, that I'm trying to reject. But if I get caught rejecting it, I'm in trouble. And I'm trying to be me, but not me. And it's complex, unfortunately. So,
but I think what you're saying now about children's theatre, I love the fact that you're doing children's theatre as well, because I think we are so sort of forgetting that it's where the love for art starts, and it's there in those theatres. And I saw the other day, a puppet theatre just outside the shopping center here in Vienna, and I saw the puppet theatre, and I saw, it was just outside, and the children, they were, so enjoying it, screaming, and every time the villain comes, the children were screaming, and you think this is where it starts. This is where the love for theatre starts, really, and for children going to a theatre, being entertained, and it's from there that it develops to other forms of theatre. But like you're saying, it's there also where you as an actor has such an important job to instill this love, for children, to connect with them. And I love that you do that. I love the fact that there is something like children's theatre.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
I do. I genuinely enjoy it.
I would love to speak to the director of this children's theatre.
Yeah, I could put you in touch with him.
Absolutely. I absolutely love this idea.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. I could definitely put you in touch with him. So, because what he does is, he does these shows for the community, as it were, and everything else he does as well. He'll do writing workshops, and then from those writing workshops, he'll hire actors to perform these small pieces, and he'll put those on as well. So he does a lot like that. He does a lot of work in those. areas and spaces. So it's amazing. And like I said, I've
Amazing.
worked with him for ages, and he's really good. It's really good.
Amazing. But Paul, we've talked about now your you want to do other types of theatre as well. But what is the big dream for you? What are the wishes?
It's a good question. I mean, I speak about it to my girlfriend all the time, to be fair. You know, we're in similar, well, not similar fields, but we do different things. And for me, I think it's just consistency. You know, a day job, obviously, I'm an active, like working actor, as it were, where you're performing 1 minute and then you're doing a normal job the next. So for me, I feel it's just consistency. So that might be finding a longer project so that it runs for like 2 years or a year, where I can literally just remove myself and just focus on acting. Maybe a TV series, like a reoccurring part, or just work consistently with bigger theatre companies. And again, like I said before, have access to larger projects, you know, so that my profile kind of boosts even more. And I'm picked by other people so that the consistency can start to develop, basically. Because ultimately, that's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to make sure that we're the first point of call when somebody has an idea. You know, it's not to be famous per se, because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was just telling me, oh, one day I was in this film, blockbuster. You know, the next day we're both here performing in Finch Theatre. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's yeah.
You know? So
it's
it's hard.
But it's true. It's like you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to grow from it. You have to have the challenges and the obstacles, and it's that and that consistency, like you say.
Yeah, just trying to attain that consistency. So I'm just trying to catch that break that would allow me that opportunity just to explore other opportunities that could take me even further, and always be that person on the end of the line where someone has an idea. It's like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm call.
Yeah. Now I know what you mean. Yeah, but I see you. I assume it's Anna mug that Anna made, because she's a ceramist that you're drinking your coffee from.
Yeah. I don't think she made this, actually. I'm not sure. No, I think she bought this one, but her work is behind.
Oh, okay. Because I love her work, and the interview that I did with her was so amazing. I absolutely love the artwork, and we talked about roots, and we actually talked after I've spoken to her. There was so many artists that I've spoken to that the subject of roots came into the conversation, and I thought, wow, how amazing! So I referred back to her interview, just so she knows I did talk about her work because of the roots. It's amazing. But Paul, this was so great to talk to you. I'm so great. It's so wonderful to know that you're with Anna, that you're a couple, and that I've spoken to you both, and you're both artists. And how amazing that you know, it's different forms of art, but you can relate to each other and you can support each other, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that drew me to her, to be honest. The fact that she is always like trying to create, that she's working with a substance that she, you know, looks so like unappealing, you know,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden she'll just put it on a wheel and away she goes, starts throwing, and gets an amazing piece, you know what I mean? And I'm very supportive of her. I'll go with her to gallery events, and she's really supportive of me. She obviously came to see the performance that I did last weekend, and we always try and encourage her, because another thing, when you're an artist of any kind, there's a lot of self-doubt, and you have to
Absolutely.
really fight the voice in your head that says you're not good enough, or you need to be better, and it's nice to have someone who just pushes you, but also supports whatever you do and understands what you're trying to achieve, and then work from there. I consider myself very lucky to have found such an amazing woman for myself. You know what I mean?
She is a great, great person. I was so impressed with the interview with her and with what she was telling me and so on. So, but you do need that, and you need that someone when you are just doubting yourself to just say, I believe in you, then everything, then the world's put right again.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to when I was a kid and my family being really supportive of what I do. When you have that grounding, when you have those roots, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's true.
It sets you up to continue to grow because, your roots are strong, and the only way is up after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So really important.
But Paul, have a wonderful day and send my love to Anna.
Oh.
And I hope to see you both in Vienna very soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's very much becoming my second home, Austria. To be
honest. And there's an English theatre here in Vienna. So
I know it's one of the things I'm looking at the moment, and a few friends of mine have been giving me agents who are based in Germany as well, to maybe do work there, because obviously it's a neighbouring country.
Yeah. There's a I did the interview with it was also called Paul. I can't remember his surname now, but he's doing the English theatre in Hamburg, I think.
Okay.
So yeah. So if you if you scroll down the interviews, you'll find him there. I'll send you the name, the complete name. But
please do. Lovely.
Yeah. Paul, have a wonderful day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for interviewing me. I really enjoyed this. It's been nice to just engage and get my thoughts out, because this is something that goes on in your head, but there's only certain times where you can voice it. So
exactly.
Yeah,
and it's good, and it's always I think great for for other artists to hear also somebody else's journey, because I think sometimes it's so daunting when you just see success stories all the time, or you just see the end result. You don't see the path. And for somebody to talk about how they developed, or what route did they take, and how they got from where they are now, it's always so encouraging.
Yeah, no, it is. And also, it's not, like you said, it's not all glamour. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of no's, a couple of yeses.
Exactly.
But it's really challenging. And it isn't about the destination, really. Actually, it's genuine about the journey. You
have to, So somebody said that if you don't enjoy the journey, then you won't appreciate the end result, or there's no end result really, but you won't really. If you don't enjoy the journey, you won't enjoy the highlights. So
exactly.
Yeah.